I know this is one that's going to be on all of our lists, so I'm just going to get it out of the way. The Iron Giant.
Haha, indeed.
See, the Iron Giant
was on my list.
Absolutely on my list. It was unexpected. I had no idea where this story had come from. You know, I was at a point in my life when this came out where I was like, cartoons are for kids. And I saw this movie, and by the time I was done with it, I was a sobbing mess. It was such a touching story with, traces of E.T. and Short Circuit and just all of the best coming-of-age boys growing up, this backdrop of war and fear-mongering and,
small-town Americana.
Small-town Americana, but also a story about, and it's kind of like they touch on this in the new James Gunn Superman movie, where it's like, you don't have to be what you were created to be.
Yeah.
You choose who you are. You get to choose the man
Superman.
or person that you want to be. And that's why I think it's really interesting that Superman is such an influence on the Iron Giant,
Right.
because I do feel like there's an element of the Iron Giant that influenced this new Superman movie. And yeah, just I mean, you go back to the performances, the sound, but just the story itself was just excellently executed. Everything top notch. I think these were people that were involved in this, artists that were involved in this, that believed in the project.
Oh yeah.
And had passion for the project, and it just seeps out onto the screen.
Yeah.
This is Brad Bird. That's where Brad Bird kind of came on my radar, that name anyway. I had known his work from The Family Dog, which is the Amazing Stories episode that he had animated and produced back in the day.
How long after this did he do The Incredibles?
So Incredibles was 2004. I believe this came out in 98. So good 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
And I was actually going to pile on here because, yes, I had the Iron Giant / the Incredibles on my list because I knew I wanted to talk about one or the other. And as long as we're having a little Brad Bird section here, yes,
there you go.
Iron Giant is fantastic for a lot of the same reasons that the Incredibles is fantastic, even though they're both different mediums, 2D versus 3D, obviously, with Incredibles being a Pixar film.
I think it's a little more incredible.
Motherfucker. Yes, I agree as well. But one of the things that they have in common is just the way that Brad Bird directs animation. And this is a lament that I have. I love 3D animation, but I also hate what 3D animation has introduced, which is now that these tools are here where you can move the camera. And you see this in a lot of the Illumination slop or your Dream, some of these lesser animation studios where you've got these wild camera moves and pans and whips and things that are unreproducible in real life.
Yes.
Not that it has to be. It's animation. Sure, you can be afforded that.
Yeah.
Exactly. But what it does is when you're not constrained by these things that real filmmakers shooting practically would need to worry about, you stop thinking about the artistry. You start thinking about framing. You start thinking about scenes and staging. And Brad Bird films are always animated like he's shooting a live action film, like where he places the camera, the angles. He's not doing these crazy wild moves usually, unless he needs to. And when he's doing it for effect, or there's a reason for it.
Yes.
Not just as some sort of discombobulated eye candy. So go back and watch Iron Giant and even really Incredibles, which I feel like is even more. He's put more restraint on him as he's given these tools to do more. It's like a James Bond film. It's so good.
Yes. What I love about what he does, just to kind of piggyback on what you're saying, I love that he has like the bravery when he makes these movies. Like he will cut to an incredible wide of something happening in the distance, and we'll just see it happening in the distance, where everything else, every other filmmaker would be tempted to make you then you would zoom into where it is, to what's going on.
Yep.
Instead, he keeps it far away and, keeps it isolated. So that way it enhances the feeling of what it is that you're watching. I couldn't agree more.
He thinks like a filmmaker.
Yeah.